My name is Ashley Nicole McCrae. I'm an enrolled member of the Absentee Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma, ASHLEY, MCCRAY. I am a founder of the organization called No Plains Pipeline. I am here today along with my fellow Indigenous water protectors and allies to tell the state of Oklahoma and the rest of the nation that we do not accept Donald Trump's executive orders to allow KXL and Dakota Access Pipeline to come through our lands. We also want to put the state of Oklahoma and the rest of the nation on notice that we are forming a coalition, that we are organized, and that we will not tolerate the destruction of Indigenous land anymore. I am joined here today by my brother, Mickey Horneck from the Ponca Nation. He is also the director of BOLD, Oklahoma. I'm also here with AIM Indian Territory Director Mike Castile from the Seminole and Muskogee Creek Nations. I'm also joined by Oklahoma Sierra Club's Executive Director Johnson Bridgewater, as well as the Executive Director of Black Lives Matter's Oklahoma City, T. Cherie Dixon. So we are here today to share our messages and to share our words and to please let everybody know that water is life, water is sacred, and that we are here to defend all our land and all our water.
Hello, my name is Mickey Camp Horneck, MEKASICAMPHORINEK. I represent the Ponca Nation of Oklahoma. I'm the state director for BOLD, Oklahoma. Currently, like Ashley said, the president has pushed the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Keystone XL Pipeline, saying that he's going to push them to come through our land once again. This was not an executive order, this was a memorandum. He still has some hurdles to jump, and we plan on doing the utmost possible to stop those pipelines from coming through not only Oklahoma but all of the Indian country. The Keystone XL Pipeline is going to bring foreign oil from Canada across the United States to the Gulf of Mexico to a free trade zone. It will not create the jobs that he says. It creates 35 permanent jobs, period. It's not worth the risk to our environment, to our land, to our country to transport this oil for somebody else to use and for our children to pay the price when they can't drink the water in the future. We're here today to announce a campaign against the Diamond Pipeline here in Oklahoma that runs from Cushing, Oklahoma to Memphis, Tennessee. As we all know, Cushing's known for the pipeline crossroads of the world. Oklahoma is saturated with pipelines. They're stacked one on top of another. Looks like spider web after spider web overlapping each other. That's how many pipelines are here. Us being the earthquake capital of the world, subject to have a 7.0 in the future, we don't need any more pipelines. The pipelines that are here, the infrastructure that's here is capable of exceeding the energy needs not only of Oklahoma but of the country. So we're here to say no more pipelines in Oklahoma. This particular pipeline crosses 214 waterways between here and Memphis, Tennessee, the Arkansas River, Canadian River, Illinois River, as well as the Mississippi River. Everybody downstream from us to the Gulf of Mexico could be affected by a spill, and it's not if a spill will happen, it's when a spill happens. So when a spill happens, it's going to contaminate the water sources for millions of American citizens, not to mention the Oklahoma residents that will be impacted throughout the state, not only crossing their farms, their ranches, and the many different tribes that it's going to cross, but we have to think about the rights of nature, the animals, the plants, the birds that live here in this diverse state. We have many different nationalities that live here in this state. We want to all come together to protect this beautiful land that we call home, the state of Oklahoma. We're all here together, we're all in this together, and I believe that when we unite together to stand up for the state of Oklahoma, we can fight big oil. We know that Oklahoma is an oil state. We also know that Oklahoma is an agriculture state. So we need those farmers and ranchers and men and women that rely on the agriculture business to stand with us, united, become allies, and protect the water, protect the land, and protect our way of life. Thank you.
Michael Castile, oath. Greetings, my name is Michael Castile, MICHABL, CASTEBL. I am here representing Seminoles and the Muskogee Nation. I am also the director of the American Indian Movement, Indian Territory. We're here today because Plains All American has plans to construct a diamond pipeline from Cushing, Oklahoma to Memphis, Tennessee. However, to us indigenous, this is bigger than just a pipeline. This has to do with our tribal sovereignty. The plans to construct this will intersect 4 different tribes. Directly affected will be the Sac-and-Fox Nation, the Kituwa Band, the Muskogee Creek Nation, and the Sac-and-Fox Nation. Now, as bad as that is, that's not the worst of it. The route will directly affect the Trail of Tears. Let's talk about the Trail of Tears for a minute. In 1830, Andrew Jackson tried to pass the Indian Removal Act. The Cherokee Nation fought him, and it was deemed unconstitutional. But that did not dissuade Andrew Jackson. He requested that the military round up all the Cherokees. They put them in the stockades for months, where during those months, our women were raped, our girls were raped, disease, deaths, and that was just the beginning. Much sickness and death occurred during this long and arduous march of thousands of miles. But this march not only affected the Cherokees, it affected 37 of the 39 tribes here in Oklahoma. 4,000 of our ancestors died or killed along this march. Along the Trail of Tears, thousands of unmarked graves, and Diamond Pipeline will disturb many of these unmarked graves. This is a tragedy of epic proportions, which we can avert now. It would be no different than laying a pipeline through Arlington National Cemetery or through the site of the concentration camps in Germany. Would you sit back and idly watch? I don't think you would. Oklahoma, or the United States, is home to the original concentration camps, which the government calls the reservations. What's the difference? You need to ask yourself, what's the difference between us and Arlington National Cemetery, our graves? Our numbers are small, but our voices echo the thousands of ancestors that were killed along this march, this forced march. Why would we sit back and allow another generation to trample our ancestors' graves, our histories, our children? That is what we're fighting to do. We're trying to survive, preserve what we have left for our future generations. Standing Rock was the start of our unifying nations come together to fight this. As we all know, the pipeline company's bottom line is the money. Whereas as indigenous people know there's more to this world than just money. You know, it's life. Life is energy. We're a small part of the universe, and our energy, the natural energy, we will win. You know, this is not just an indigenous issue. You know, if you drink water, it's your issue. You know,
Hi, Johnson Bridgewater, Johnsson Bridgwater, the director of the Oklahoma chapter of Sierra Club. First, I want to thank all of the organizations represented here for allowing me to speak today. This is a huge issue that impacts a lot of different aspects of our society, some really sensitive cultural issues that need to be addressed. One of the biggest problems that the Sierra Club has with pipelines, specifically oil pipelines such as Diamond, they are permitted very differently than natural gas pipelines. There is not a public involvement process for oil pipeline projects such as Diamond. That is one of the #1 issues we're here, why we're holding press conferences, because that's the way we have to get attention and get input to these pipelines, because there is not a public process the way oil is permitted. One of the other biggest issues is the fact that we want to see absolute proof that seismicity has been addressed in the design of the Diamond pipeline. We do not have any evidence that there are engineering schematics that address the issue of seismicity, and it's already been mentioned. The USGS has very clearly stated they expect larger earthquakes to impact Oklahoma in the future. So we want to see a change in the way any and all infrastructure is built, knowing the potential from earthquakes. I'd also like to mention one of the biggest problems of all, which is that of climate change. Regardless of what some people have stated, climate change absolutely is a real issue. It is a very serious issue. We are now pursuing fossil fuels as if nothing needs to change. We have technology, we have abilities to head down a new path of renewable energy. Especially in a state like Oklahoma, look at our existing economy, look where a fossil fuel heavy economic base has gotten us. I think it is clear that it's time to actually truly pursue renewables, and that is a big part of what we're doing here, is to try and set forth a new path for the future of Oklahoma. I'd like to close with something that is very disturbing to all of us involved in these issues. There is legislation being posed in the Oklahoma legislature that would limit what the state can pass in regards to regulation of pipelines, to not being able to pass regulation or policy that is stronger than federal government's regulation and policy. That to us is wrong, especially from so many people who claim that the states should have the power to take care of themselves. I'm fairly shocked to see legislation being posed that would actually prevent the state of Oklahoma and its citizens who want to speak up on this issue from passing regulations stronger than the federal government. Thank you all so much.
Johnson, do you have a bill number for that, or an author's name?
I'll forward that on to anybody who wants it.
We'll take questions at the end. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Reverend T. Cherie Dickerson, T. SHERI-DICKERSON. I am here on behalf of, or serving as the Executive Director of Black Lives Matter Oklahoma, the OKC chapter affiliate, but also as a citizen of Oklahoma, and again, having the honor and the privilege to stand with many of my Native and Indigenous friends, family, and allies to say that we are so disappointed and just totally outraged at this atrocity that is possibly going to be allowed to happen here in our home state, the state of Oklahoma, which our name hails as land of the natives. This is disappointing, it is disturbing, and it is ethically and morally not okay. We stand with them in saying we want our natural resources protected, but we also want the tribal and sacred lands respected as it should be. To know that they are possibly considering going through and desecrating sacred lands is simply unconscionable. We are very, very upset about this concept, understanding that we realize they also don't have to get permission. They don't have to advise them except for a very short time before they start the process. Why would you hide something if you felt like it was ethically okay? We're asking that the pipelines consider people over profit. People over profit. We're also asking that our legislators get involved and make sure that everything is protected as it should be here with these tribal lands, here with our lands, here with our natural resources. You've heard the slogans that you can't drink oil. Some people said, well, actually you could. Well, I certainly know that I don't want to. I know that I don't want to have to deal with explaining to our seniors and our children why something as important, of which 80% of what each of us are made of, is being desecrated and destroyed simply for the dollar, or simply for cents on the dollar. It is atrocious. We are going to stand. We are going to stand in alliance with them, continuing to join in and say that we also are going to be water protectors, and we are not going to allow these type of things to happen here or across this nation. We've already sent people up to Standing Rock. We're going to start that same type of alliance and resistance right here in Oklahoma if need be, and we will follow it all the way through until the end. I ask each of you all as citizens to call your legislators, to let them know that this is not okay. I thank you for the privilege to be here. And again, we say that Black Lives Matter Oklahoma and national affiliates, we stand with you.
My name is Ashley McCray, ASHLEY, MCC, I'm the founder of No Plains Pipeline. I'm also a citizen of the Absentee Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma. My mother comes from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. She's Oglala and Sicangu Lakota. I am here today to say Oklahoma, it's a Choctaw word meaning red people. Oklahoma is also home to more earthquakes, man-made earthquakes might I add, than anywhere else in the nation. Oklahoma is also home to pipeline crossroads of the world. But more than that, Oklahoma is home to 39 federally recognized and sovereign nations. That means that there are 39 sovereign nations that need to be respected based on their governments that they create on their own accord, based on the decisions that they make as a sovereign nation, as an actual nation. The state of Oklahoma is not respecting that nation-to-nation relationship that they were bound by treaty to respect and honor. More so than that, we know that this pipeline company, Plains All American Pipeline, has no consideration for consulting with tribal entities whatsoever. I was formerly working in the Cultural Preservation Center at the Absentee Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma. I'm also a PhD student at the University of Oklahoma, and I have had the opportunity and the privilege to speak with many tribal leaders from many different nations, including the Caddo Nation's tribal chairwoman, Tammy Francis Forkiller, whose land, of these 39 tribes, only 3 nations are actually indigenous to the state, and her tribe is one of those nations that is indigenous to the state. Plains All American did not make any effort to consult her people. She actually came whenever we shut down City Hall in Norman, when they were trying to pass another permit. She actually came and chased down the lawyer for Plains All American Pipeline, demanding to know why his company has not consulted with her nation. She was left without an answer. We're here today to say that we are not going to tolerate that anymore, that it is absolutely insane and ridiculous that our governor, Mary Fallin, has declared October 13 National Oilfield Prayer Day, asking all of the citizens of the state to pray for the oil. While at the meantime, we have companies that are going through our lands. Plains All American has settled a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with the EPA over its pipeline spills. We know that Flea actually wrote an op-ed to the Rolling Stones about the oil spill that Plains All American was responsible for off the coast of Santa Barbara. They are also responsible for the largest oil spill in Canada, their sister company. And this pipeline company is not going to continue any sort of safety regulations. It's not going to, now that President Trump is in office, they are just going to go right through our lands, as they already have been doing, but they're going to do it even more brazenly. I want everybody to know that we are joined with all of these wonderful people, this alliance that we have here, but it extends beyond the so-called borders of the state of Oklahoma. We have people from Arkansas and Tennessee that are working with us actively. We have people from the Southwest who are committed to coming here once we start an encampment. We are not going to back down. We are not going to back down from this fight until we make sure that Plains All American listens to us, consults with our tribes, and provides an environmental impact statement for every single waterway that they are crossing. We are demanding an environmental impact statement for every single waterway. More than that, we want actual tribal consultation. That means meeting with the communities that are involved, that are at risk. For me personally, the reason why I'm personally invested in this fight is because my people were removed from the East Coast in the early 1800s, and they were made to live in the state of Oklahoma, not by their own will or desire. Even worse than that, we ran away to Mexico. That's why we're called the Absentee Shawnee Tribes, because we absented ourselves from the Shawnee Nation, and we ran away to Mexico because we did not want to be underneath the occupier known as the United States of America. But once Mexico lost its war, we were rounded up again and forced to live in Little Axe, Norman, and Shawnee, Oklahoma. Well, as you may know, since you are all in important positions here in the state of Oklahoma, there are no natural lakes in the state of Oklahoma. They're all man-made. Well, Lake Thunderbird, which is where my people lived, is actually sitting upon a burial ground of absentee Shawnee people, of my relatives, of my ancestors. When the state of Oklahoma decided to build that lake, they dug up my ancestors' body without a care or concern of their spirit or who they are, or where they come from. And this pipeline company has built the first pipeline underneath that lake. The second pipeline that they're building, Red River 2, is going around our lake. They did not meet with any of our tribal members or any of the people in office at our tribe, and they didn't meet with any of the other 11 tribes that are directly affected by this pipeline. And now this third project that they're building, the Diamond Pipeline, it's a partnership with Valero. And we know for a fact that they have not consulted with the people out there. We know that they have not made any effort to make community outreach, which should be a top priority for every state, for every oil project, should be a top priority to meet with the community that will be directly affected. And as these people before you have said, it's not a matter of if, but when these pipelines spill, when we have a 7.0 magnitude earthquake, what are we gonna do? We already know that there are no regulations on these oil companies. We know that Mary Fallin actually put a ban on banning fracking in the state of Oklahoma. We have to stop this. We have to stop this insanity. Enough is enough. People's actual lives are at stake here. And I'm standing here before you today as an absentee Shawnee woman, as a woman who has grown and lived and loved this red dirt since the day that I was born, as a person who has got my education here, 2 master's degrees. One of my former advisors is right here, and I'm working on a PhD here in the state that I love so much. I'm here standing before you today to say enough is enough. Indigenous people cannot be treated this way anymore. Black communities cannot be treated this way anymore. This is a clear-cut case of environmental racism, a clear-cut case of environmental genocide. We know that for a fact because when we were working on the second project, the Red River 2 project, we know for a fact that the company rerouted it because it was originally scheduled to go through an affluent white community. But they were able to muster up enough resources and support to have the company reroute that pipeline, to go directly through indigenous land, directly through the poor farmers, the poor white farmers who live in Little Axe, directly through the black communities of these historically black towns that we have all throughout the state of Oklahoma. If that isn't a clear-cut case of environmental racism, I don't know what is. And I'm here today standing before you to say enough is enough. My red blood is just as red as the dirt that we stand on, and we will not take this anymore. We are standing together along with Arkansas Rising, Arkansas Water Guardians, the people from Standing Rock and all over the nation who have come to realize that we cannot tolerate the rape of Unchimaka, our grandmother Earth, any longer. Water is life, not just for indigenous people, but for all people, and we all need it to live. Thank you.
If you have any questions at this time, we'll take questions.
Yes, you mentioned Penny Cammon, something probably maybe something that we saw similar to Standing Rock. Is that something that is definitely going to happen?
In Standing Rock, what we saw was 350 indigenous nations come together along with allies from around the world, like-minded people standing up to protect not only the sacred water of life, which everything on this planet needs to live, but to protect the land and the sacred sites. And there definitely will be an encampment that's going to come here to Oklahoma in the near future where we can call on our allies, our brothers and sisters, the connections that we made during that fight at Standing Rock, and the things that we learned was that if we stand united together and that we do things in a prayerful way, it's powerful and we will make a difference together. So the answer to that question is yes.
Where would these?
That is an undisclosed location at this time, but we'll let you know when we get going.
And do you know when? Do you know anything about when the pipeline construction is going to begin and when you might set up?
It already has begun.
Yeah, they're already boring underneath the roads in eastern Oklahoma. It's under construction in Arkansas, and it's just really a matter of probably weeks before they start tearing dirt up and trying to start dropping pipe in the trenches.
So expect something from you guys out there in a few weeks?
You could expect something from us later today. You never know. We're here to protect the land in Oklahoma and the citizens here in Oklahoma, and the use of eminent domain that this pipeline's using to take the land from our residents here in Oklahoma. Not only indigenous people, but the farmers and ranchers are having their land stolen for private gain by the use of eminent domain, and we just think that should be illegal and that it's wrong, and we're here to protect not only the indigenous lands but all of our relatives here in the state of Oklahoma.
According to the EPA, the Plains All American Pipeline companies had many spills in the last few years, including one in Oklahoma. Do you know what that was about, where that was, and what was involved? Does anybody know?
Got this that you all can take with you. The data is publicly available. What we do know is that pipeline accidents are up 60% since 2009. One of the biggest things to keep in mind is that that includes deaths and accidents. Pipelines are not simply a spill and they cause issues with the environment. The data that's publicly available, it's a federal government website, documents all of the deaths and injuries associated with all those spills. And they have a breakout for the state of Oklahoma.
So in May 19th of last year, the All-American Plains Pipeline ruptured, spilling 124,000 gallons of oil into the ocean near Refugio State Beach in California. They also had a leak of hydrochloric acid into the water source of Corpus Christi, and Corpus Christi had to ban their water for nearly a week because of the spill that they had there. This pipeline company has a real shoddy record of safety and of oil spills across the nation.
And even more than that, this particular project, the Diamond Project, the Diamond Pipeline, this is a partnership between Valero and Plains All-American. We know that both Plains All-American and Valero are responsible for the deaths of their employees. This is, as Mr. Bridgewater said, this is all available to everybody. But more so than that, the actual pipeline that they are using for this project is created by Wellspun Technology, which first of all is not an American company. It's actually based out of India, but it does have subsidiaries in the United States. So if Donald Trump says that we want American-made products, this is not American-made. But we know that Wellspun is also responsible for the death of one of its employees whenever one of its pipelines, which was ill-manufactured, ill-created, not safe from the get-go, crushed 3 of its employees. So we know that Wellspun isn't safe, we know that Plains All-American isn't safe, and we know that Valero isn't safe. And we know this from fact. This is available public record, and we know that they're only going to continue with this lack of safety, this lack of care, this lack of responsibility that they should be having.
From your research, do any of you know if Diamond Pipeline was given any tax credits or any incentives for this project in Oklahoma?
I don't have any specific knowledge on their tax
I don't
rates.
know necessarily about tax credits, but anytime a pipeline is constructed on county property, they get significant, the counties get significant tax revenues based on that. So their counties have an incentive to approve and sign off on these projects without giving the proper level of oversight.
We are starting to organize town hall meetings and city council meetings along the pipeline route from Cushing to Arkansas, and some of the communities that we've been to and spoke to had no idea that this pipeline was coming through their community or had any type of perceived impact on their community or their water sources. So we're going to be traveling throughout the state to bring education and awareness to the communities, to the farmers, ranchers, and native allies from Cushing to the Memphis, Tennessee. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
We just want to thank each and every one of you for coming, for covering this. We spoke about our allies here, the press, the people behind the cameras, the journalists that write the stories. You are all definitely considered allies of ours, and we appreciate you coming and covering this story and getting the message out to the residents of Oklahoma. So thank you.
Yahweh.
And sharing, guys.
Thank you for watching. Please share this. Share this, and we also have
let everyone know in Arkansas. Let everyone know in Oklahoma.
Has a stream and find it on his page. What is your page?
You can find me if you go to Facebook and search for Kevin Gilbert with 2 T's. You'll find my page. And it'll also be on Let Your Soul Play, which is a business page. You'll find it there. It's shared out there. Thanks for joining this stream, guys, and keep sharing it out because this is huge. We are the media. The way to get this story out is not through the national media. It is through people just like yourselves at home, because you don't know this is happening. Now you can share it with other people and let them know, because when people know this is happening, they stand up. But because they keep it quiet, people don't know, so no one stands up. They're going to stand up here, and you need to stand up with them. Oh.
Thank you. Meadow, thank you for sharing.